I'm Amy from Doodle Dog Designs. Last week, I was at my mother's house and we were looking at her collection of antique sewing collectibles. And I noticed this little antique Victorian needle case. It's made from perforated paper. In my stash, I have some perforated paper, and I thought it would be fun to try to recreate this needle case. So I have my perforated paper, and of course this has gotten dirty with age, but I think it was probably a comparable color to begin with. So I've kind of looked it over to see how it looks like it's constructed. I think the front and back are two separate pieces of the perforated paper and then sewn together. So I'm going to measure and then cut two pieces of perforated paper. So it's about 2.5 by 2. So I'm going to want to cut 2 inches. So I'll go ahead and draw a line here. If you have a paper cutter, you could use that instead of cutting it with scissors. Now the first thing I want to do is do my stitching on here before I try assembling it. So I believe they just made little X's all the way across with the blue and the yellow. I picked up some blue and yellow. My colors are lighter than what they have used, but I'm going to age this. So by the time I get all done, hopefully it will look dark and aged like this. So I'm going to start with the X's on the back. I think that will be the easiest. Their holes per inch are smaller than my holes per inch, so I will just estimate where to put my X's. So if I start right here with my first and go across diagonally, I'm going to use 3 strands of floss. Choosing your needle, use a tapestry needle if you have those. If you don't have a tapestry needle, it does not need to be a sharp needle. It can be a blunt needle, but you do want to make sure that whatever needle you choose will slide through the holes easily in the paper. So I will start stitching in this hole that I marked. I'm leaving a little bit of string on the back here, and I will stitch that in on the back side as I go. So I'm going to make an X, a cross stitch, and I will bring my thread over to tie that down. If you're a cross stitcher, this is not anything new for you. And it will look better if all of your X's are the same, meaning that you do the cross in one direction first and then go back and do the other sides. So I'm always going from the top right to the bottom left, and then I do the other part of the X. So now I will go down a little higher starting than they were. I'm going to go down to about here. I'm going to leave this last row open so I can stitch my pieces together. I'm using DMC 727, and I'm just using it because I had that color and I thought it looked similar to what they had used. And then I'm going to use 803. I finished stitching the yellow, and now I'm going to do the blues in the opposite direction. there is a yellow cross in that spot, I will just skip that hole, and otherwise I will fill in the line all the way across. I'm at the end of the row, and the yellow I did carry over from row to row, but the blue is going to show between the rows too much, so I'm going to just tie this off by running it under some of my stitches, and then I'll start a new strand on the next row. My rows are a little bit closer than their rows, but it's the same idea. Finished look will be very similar. I thought it would be fun to use some initials from an actual ancestor of mine to put on it instead of this MD. So my dad is the keeper of the family history. He found me a direct ancestor that lived in the mid 1800s. So I am going to use her initials and a date that makes sense for when she would have been around 10, 11 years old to put on here. So in order to graph that, my squares are bigger than their squares. So I counted how many squares I had all the way across, and then I drew that out on some graph paper. And then I sketch out my letters. It's J, J, G. And then I'm going to use the year 1863 because that makes more sense based on when she was born. I'm going to take this and use it to stitch X's, cross stitch, onto this paper. Did have to modify my design just a little bit, and I needed more spacing in between the letters to be able to put the periods, and that shifted it to the right, so I would have been better off if I'd started a little bit to the left. But since this is supposed to be something that a 10, 11-year-old made, I think that it's just fine like that. So now I'm going to look at the inside. It's got these 4 pages of needle holders, and those I think are wool, and they're about 3 1/4 by 2. There is a blanket stitch all the way around both of those, so I'm going to now just do the blanket stitch all the way around both of these. Again, I will do the 3 strands of floss, and my blanket stitch is not very good, so probably be pretty realistic looking for a young child to have done it. I folded it in half and started it right there in the middle, that down on the bottom when I sew it all together. I have these done now. It looks to me like they are stitched right down the middle to the backing fabric. So next I'm going to work on the backing fabric. And really this looks like a satin, a blue satin. And it makes sense that they would have used just scraps of what they had laying around left over from making dresses or other things. And I don't have any blue satin, but I do have this blue velvet, and I think it's possible that they would have used velvet also in that time period. And what I like about this velvet, it doesn't ravel, so I won't have to worry about turning it under when I attach my pieces. So I'm going to cut it to be the size of these two put together. So it will be 4 by the 2.5. I want the velvet to be right side up, and then I will layer these on top and center them. For this, I'm going to use just a 1 strand of the same floss. So these are 3 inches, so I'm going to use a washout pencil and make a mark at right in the middle here. And then I'm going to stitch right down the middle. I I will just do some tiny stitches up and down through all the layers. It looks like then they ran a single stitch, it's loose there, all the way across that. So since I used a thread that you can see there, I will take 3 strands. I'll pull that all the way across here like they did. If I was doing it again, I would have used a cream thread to stitch the wool down to the backing. Put that right there to help cover that stitching up. Alright, now they used red floss to stitch the pieces together. But I like the yellow and blue look I've got going here though, so I think I'm going to stick with the blue. I'm going to use 2 strands of floss. And I've got this on the right side here, so when I fold it up like that, it will be a nice little book, and I'm just going to hold it together and start sewing. So I want to sew the velvet to the paper. So I'm going to line everything up. I'm going to bring this thread over and go into a hole and come out here and catch the velvet. And then go into the next hole. Again, catch the velvet. And I'll just do that all the way across. Get to the corner, I'm going to do 2 stitches in the corner, 1 on either side, and then I'll just keep going across. I stitched all the way around this on the 3 sides, leaving this part open still. And I'm going to go ahead and now attach this one. And there's a little bit of overlap here, but that's going to be okay because when I fold it, I'm going to need to stitch those together. And if it isn't okay, I can always cut a little bit of that off. So I'll just keep right on stitching, just like I have been. Start stitching this back cover on. I have stitched all the way around now, and now I want to stitch this part closed. So I've just kept my thread on, folded it in half, and I'm going to stitch, go in a hole on one side and in the corresponding hole on the other side, and pull it tight, and then I think I'm going to go through each hole 2 times to get a good and tight stitch here. Cut a little close to the line here, and I think I'm going to need to go down into the next row of holes. When I got to the end of the stitching, I just slid my needle and thread under some of the stitches that I had made to tie off the thread. They're similar, but mine is very new and clean looking. And also my wool is a lot thicker, so the needle case is a lot thicker than this one is. So now I'm going to work on grunging this a little bit to make it look old. I've got this home decor wax, It is a water-based product. I like to use it for grunging things. And I've got a little bit of water here, and I've got a rag. I'm going to get some water and mix it in so it's not too thick. I don't want it to be really heavy. I'm going to also wipe it off a little bit. I could have coffee dyed my pages, but I didn't, so I'm just going to use this wax to get a little layer of grunge on everything. Then on the inside as well. I'm going to take a little bit of the straight wax, but I am going to rub it onto the other rag, and I'm just going to do little spots that make a little bit darker areas so the grunge is not even. Now I'm going to set it on its side so it can dry. Be sure to click the like button and subscribe below. I'll see you next time. Bye.